we teach kids how to become number one best-selling authors. And the way we do that is we have anthologies with two, three, 400 kids in a book, and they write a short one-page essay, what I love about America. And whether it's, I love that I can play sports. I love that my parents can have jobs and own homes. I love it that my parents came from another country and were accepted here. Whatever the kid is, whatever they love about America, that's up to them.
Hello, hello. Ginny Bolling here with Pivotal REI, the real estate investing podcast, formerly called Pivot to Prosperity. And today we have Robert Smith with us. And Robert, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Jenny. I appreciate it.
We're both here in Central Florida, and we met through one of the dinner dining out programs that has to do with entrepreneurship. And we have that connection, as well as you are very, very well established in the community of, I would say, public relations more broadly. I would love for you to introduce yourself to everyone and let you know what your expertise is.
Sure, be happy to do that. Yeah, I started out in financial services for a few decades and was fortunate enough to be the number one producer worldwide for companies like The Equitable, AXA Financial, Mutual of New York, set a ton of records with John Hancock, New York Life, and previous to that, on the blue collar side, set some records with Coca-Cola and Mobil Oil. So we've done pretty well with them. Um, I had one of the largest financial practices in the state of Florida, Georgia, and Michigan. Unfortunately, I had an auto accident, broke my neck, back, spine, and had to shut all those offices down. So I pivoted. So that's a great title that you have, because everybody, there's a certain point in time where you have to pivot, whether you like it or not. And sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not easy. But I couldn't travel anymore. I couldn't walk for a period of time. So I couldn't travel between offices. I couldn't go on public speaking tours. I couldn't do anything like I used to do. So I thought, what am I going to do? I'll just do consulting. So fortunately, back then it was by phone, and now through Zoom and so forth, we can meet with people all over the country. So that's one of the ways we work. And while I was down for the count and unable to walk without assistance, I used two canes for about a year. And for a very short period of time, I couldn't walk at all. And I thought, what am I going to do for the rest of my life if I can't walk? So I went into writing, and I thought, I've got to study screenwriting and be the best writer I can be. So I simultaneously took an online course at UCLA and then one here in Orlando at Full Sail, and graduated from both of them at the exact same time, with the highest honors at the head of my class for both. But it taught me a lot, and it was cool because something unexpected came out of it. While I'd always been writing newspaper articles, magazine articles, I learned comic book writing. So now we use comic book writing for success in different businesses. So one of the examples I used for my thesis project was a story that I told some clients when I was doing financial services, and I saved them millions of dollars in estate tax by getting them to understand how easy it was, or how simple it was, not easy, but how simple it was to find the solution to their problem. Because for 6 months, they were seeing a dozen different financial companies with teams of advisors, CPAs, attorneys, stockbrokers, insurance agents, and these whole teams would put together reports of 150, 200 pages of, this is your problem, here's how you fix it. And they were way too complicated. They didn't understand it. And a confused mind always says no. So they didn't do anything, and their problem got worse and worse every day. So I sat down with them in about 20 minutes, told them a story, because storytelling, I think, is the most important thing in business, especially sales. Um, and we're halfway through my story, and the gentleman slams his hand down on the table. He says, I finally get it. And I think he startled his wife. She almost fell out of her chair, because these people are 80 years old, and he was so animated and so excited that he actually understood the problem and how we were going to solve it. And long story short, that case alone, that one day, I made $110,000 in commissions by putting that plan into place, not counting my financial advisory fees and all of that. And I thought, that's probably a good thing for other people to have. So for insurance agents, I put together a sales and marketing book called The Adventures of Insurance Man, and they can hand it out to their prospects, and it helps them understand their problems, and it simplifies everything for them. Because really, as an advisor, your job is to take complicated problems, make them simple for people. And we put it together as a comic book series so they can hand them out to clients. And these clients were so happy that they actually handed them to their clients and friends. And I would get referrals all over the place. And people come into the office, say, "Hey, I got this book. Do this for me." And it's amazing. We're actually putting a series together now. It doesn't matter if you're a stockbroker, insurance agent, real estate agent. We can do them for real estate, mortgage brokers, tax advisors, doctors, lawyers, doesn't matter what your business is. We've got a proven formula, a system to break everything down to make it easy for patients, clients, customers, whatever it is, to help them come in, not only do business with you, but do more business than they normally would, higher amounts of business, and refer like absolute crazy. And I've got some referral stories that are hard to believe, but absolutely true. So it's a very
Uh,
helpful tool.
so it's almost like the comic version of whatever for dummies,
Exactly. Yeah.
but
Exactly.
it's much nicer because it's comics, right?
Yeah, it's well, and here's the thing too. When I started with John Hancock in the early 90s, they had this authority piece and credibility piece, which I recommend everybody has. If you haven't written a book, write a book. And if you've written a book and haven't reached a number one bestseller, you got to be a number one bestseller for people to pay attention to it. But we had these big hardcover books that we would hand to clients and prospective clients, which they loved because it was a better premium in those days than people giving away calculators or road atlases. Now with GPS, we don't have those anymore, but it was a differentiator and it built credibility. So what I noticed was you have this, I can't remember how many pages, let's say 250-page hardcover, brilliantly designed book, and people would be very impressed with it and they'd sit down and talk with you, but they never read the book ever. They would maybe read a page or two, put it away, and it would look great on their coffee table, but they never read it. And the difference with a comic book, I can hand you this comic book, you can read it in 5 minutes or less and completely understand how to solve your problem and move ahead with whoever the advisor is you're working with. So it's just absolutely amazing. It's like having a little professional marketing person and salesperson, in a little 6 by 9 inch piece of paper. It's amazing.
That's very cool. I look forward to seeing a couple of them.
Oh,
When we get together for dinner.
yeah, I'll
Or
I'll bring them out next time. But yeah, and any business can do them, and it's amazing. So it's just, you talk about creating systems and things. You've got to have a system for how can I bring people into my business. Once they come in, how can I convert them to clients? And then once they're clients, how can I keep them so they do repeat business? And most importantly, how can I get them to refer? And this is the best tool I've ever seen for doing that. And there are others as well. But these clients I mentioned, it's funny. About a year later, they give me a call and they say, "Can you spend a week with us at the beach on Nantucket?" And I said, well, I got three little kids. I got a business to run. I don't know if I can do it. And they said, "It's the funniest thing. Come on up. We'll make it worth your while." And I'm thinking, what do you mean make it worth my while? It's a wonderful offer. Who could ask for more than a week at the beach in Nantucket in the summertime? And they said, "Just get up here." I said, "Okay." So they bullied me a little bit, and I went for it because they were a sweet old couple. And of course, my flight's delayed into Boston, so I had to hold them up for a few hours, and then I had the little puddle jumper to Nantucket Airport, which is, if you've ever seen the show Wings, I think that's the one it's modeled after, or maybe that's where they're at. I never watched the show, but it's a little tiny airport. And I come in and the lady says, "Oh, it's just too bad, just too bad." And I said, "Uh-oh, we're starting off on the wrong foot. What's too bad?" And she said, "We held Mr. Rogers captive at our home all afternoon waiting for you to get in because he wanted to meet you and he has some issues and maybe you could help him. But your flight was delayed and he had to go home. But he wanted to give you these homemade pretzels he made for you." And I'm thinking, I can't believe I just missed Mr. Rogers, who I watched when I was 4 or 5 years old, and
at
had
Mr.
the
Rogers.
opportunity.
Okay.
The Mr. Fred Rogers, yeah. And I said, "Well, that's not a very good start to our vacation." And they said, "You're not here on vacation." They said, "You invited me up here for a week on the beach." They said, "We'll take you to the beach, but you got to do some work." I said, "Okay, what can I do for you? I'm happy to do anything I can do." And the lady says, "Here's your schedule." And she hands me a little calendar. And I see that in their home office, they set up for me. They set up a 10 a.m. appointment Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and a 2 p.m. appointment Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I've never had this happen before. They booked 10 multimillionaire clients, friends of theirs, and said, these people need your help. We show them what you did for us. Can you please do the same thing for them? They need you. I thought,
Holy
well, of
cow.
course I can. And it was like a dream come true. And I got more business in that 5 days than I had in the previous 5 months. And it was all I needed the rest of the year. And just servicing those clients was all I had to do. So I didn't run any ads, didn't look for new people. Of course, I accepted referrals, but we shut down our marketing for the year because we didn't need it.
Wow. That's amazing.
So yeah,
Yeah.
those are the types of systems we help build clients. So our business is consulting. We show how to reach number one in your industry or in your company if you don't own the company, just how to be as productive as you can. And one of the ways we do that, like we said, is building credibility. We just had another number one bestseller on New Year's Eve. We've had four in the last couple of years. And we brought in some CEOs from different companies. So rather than spend 2 or 3 years writing a book and spending a fortune trying to get it published and hoping it gets to number one, we have a system where we bring everyone just for a chapter. So for a fraction of the cost, they can write a chapter inside of a month. Within 2 months, we can turn around, get it published, and take it to number one bestseller. So now they go out and they say, here's my business. And they say, well, what do you know about real estate investing? I wrote the book on it. Here's my book, and go from there. But we get a ton of television with it. Here's one of the more recent books we have is the Influence and Action series that we have. So it's a number one best-selling series. This was our third book in the series. Everyone's hit number one. And the reason it's critical to hit number one is excuse me, statistics show that if you have a number one bestseller, the median increase in annual income is $96,000. So just by hitting a number one bestseller, the median is 96,000, which means, of course, there are as many people earning more than 100 grand a year and as many as earning less than 100 grand a year just by having that number one bestseller. So that's not their total income, it's their additional income. So if they're making 100 a year and all of a sudden they've doubled it, they're making 200 a year. And the same thing with professional speakers. And it happened with me myself. My speaking fees used to be 2,500. I hit my first number one bestseller in 2018, and now my speaking fees are 10,000. And I've had seen other people go 30, 40, 50,000. Because they've got massive audiences that they've built. I've taken a lot of time off because I'm recovering from spine surgery, and I still do 2 hours of physical therapy every single day. So I'm not as fast on the track as I used to be, but we're doing okay.
I can understand that the physical therapy piece. How long ago was your surgery on the spine?
I just had my last one a year ago, 2 days ago. So it was January 7th of 2025. And hopefully you don't notice, but when they replaced a couple of discs in my neck, they severed a nerve, which is the nerve that goes down into your diaphragm. So my breathing is not as good as it used to be. So I can't sing professionally anymore. No more rock bands for me, none of that. I can't talk for 2.5 hours on stage like I used to. So I can still do brief appearances and so forth. So if you hear me, puffing and running out of breath, it's no emergency or anything. I just haven't been able to breathe properly since my 15th surgery, which was about a year ago. So
Man.
we're working through that, and hopefully we'll find a solution, but I don't see any on the horizon just yet.
Oh man, I hope for your sake. I had chronic back pain up until I realized suddenly about a little over a year ago, it wasn't chronic anymore. But because I found this lady that was able to manipulate my back enough that and I do physical therapy every day, a
Mhm.
couple times a day.
Right.
So it really helps a lot. So, but yeah, no, I can understand. Yeah, you have a lot more to deal with there. Um, and I can appreciate that it's been a battle. I mean, that's not easy to do, but you seem like you're focused on your goals so much that it probably helps you tremendously to dive into your work, I bet.
Well, it does. And I learned a long time ago when I first got into the financial service business, you have to have a definiteness of purpose. And, for me, my purpose has always been my family. I've got 3 kids that I used to take care of. Now I don't have to take care of them, but I want to help them be the best they can be. My mother, unfortunately, her health is up and down. So sometimes she needs some help. So I'm always there for her. But beyond that, I've been volunteering forever. So since my kids were in school, I started volunteering at the school teaching kids how to be number one. So we turn kids into number one bestsellers. We do entrepreneur coaching with the middle schools, high schools, colleges, graduate schools, where we teach them how to pitch. So a lot of people say, I need to raise capital, I need to find investors. And there's actually an entrepreneurship program in the state of Florida that's, I think, 2 years old. Governor DeSantis put like $3 million in it, and kids can go through school and get certified in entrepreneurship. And I had a number one, the teacher of the year, I think, in Pasco County came up to me, I think about a year ago, and said, you were referred to me by some of my friends on Facebook, and they've seen you on TV, they've seen you do certain things. Can you come and talk to my kids? And I was happy to do that. So, in speaking with him and the kids, we discovered that Pearson VUE has this whole certification program for kids to give them a leg up going to college and so forth, and eventually starting their own business. This entrepreneurship program covers everything entrepreneurs need to know except the most important thing, and that's how to pitch. So, they don't know how to attract investors, they don't know how to pitch their product to consumers, they don't know how to do it. So, I teach kids how to pitch. And we did our first two sets of mentors. One was in the high school. We had a state champion out of that. And then one of the judges came to me and said, we mentor college kids at the University of South Florida. We have a state championship with every college in the state and university is coming to pitch. Can you mentor some of the kids? And I got a state champion out of that one too. So one of my medical students from the University of Central Florida here in Orlando. She was number one, and the kids get anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 grants from sponsors like Blue Cross to develop their products, and they find it very helpful. So aside from the entrepreneurship, I developed a new charity on Liberation Day last year called Junior Patriots, where we teach kids how to become number one best-selling authors, and the way we do that is we have anthologies with 200, 300, 400 kids in a book. And they write a short one-page essay, what I love about America. And whether it's, I love that I can play sports. I love that my parents can have jobs and own homes. I love it that my parents came from another country and were accepted here. Whatever the kid is, whatever they love about America, that's up to them. And we protect the kids. We don't let anyone put anything negative in the book. So we edit everything, of course. But what we do, so whether it's a school with 1,000 students, we do a book for the whole entire school. We turn it into a number one bestseller. And then those kids, whether it's elementary, middle, high school, college, whatever it is, when they leave and want to go to work, they're number one best-selling authors. So they're not just published authors, they're number one bestsellers. Maybe it helps them get a job in journalism, or maybe it helps them in their firm in marketing or PR or whatever it is. So the kids can leverage it. But the biggest bonus we've seen from helping these kids is it sets them on the right path, because we've seen some troubled kids that maybe they're in trouble all the time now. Maybe when they get older, they might be going to jail. Maybe they might become addicted to drugs or alcohol or whatever, because their attitudes were just poor. We had kids that never turned their homework in, kids that teachers were telling us were massive behavior problems. We go in there, we school them up, we bring patriotism back in the school, we show kids how to work for achievement, where we're not just giving them something, they actually have to earn it. And it turns them around. And we've had kids that have just altered their lives like crazy. We've had kids with chronic medical issues that all of a sudden they didn't have them anymore. Anxiety issues, chronic severe anxiety diagnosed by physicians, gone virtually overnight. We had one child was afraid to raise her hand in school to answer a question for the teacher because she was so shy. And I came in to help with Modern Woodman sponsors annual oration project for fifth graders across the country. So I went in to coach the kids on how to overcome their fear of public speaking so they could stand up and give speeches. This young lady's parents sent a letter to the teacher asking if she could be waived and exempt from participating, because they were afraid it would hospitalize her, that she was so terrified that if she had to stand up and give a speech, she couldn't handle it. So teacher asked me, what do you think we should do? And I said, well, let's ask the young lady what she wants to do. And we said, if we helped you overcome your fear, and, because you're an exceptional writer and we know you can write probably the best speech in the school, what would you think about giving the speech if your class member supported you and we supported you and encouraged you? Yeah, I think I'd like to try it, she says. So we got her parents on the phone and said, she wants to give it a shot. With your permission, can she do it? And they said they didn't want to, but they said, if that's what she wants, we'll agree to it. Long story short, this little girl who used to hide in the corner gave her speech, and it wasn't the best speech in the class, but it was second best. And the top two from every class goes to speak in front of the whole school. So now this girl who was terrified to speak in her class of 24 kids, all of a sudden she's speaking in front of 500 of her peers, students and faculty and visitors and judges like me in these contests. And she didn't win, but she did exceptionally well. And she overcame her fears. So when she went to sixth grade, middle school the next year, she said, and we tracked this girl because we became friends with her family, and we've tracked her all the way through. In middle school, she was like a backup dancer in the theater program, in the musicals and plays. And then she became a backup actress. And then by the time she got to high school, she was a lead actress, and she did pretty well
Oh,
there. And she has a fantastic singing voice. So they gave her all the leads in all the musicals. So she went from being afraid to raise her hand in class to now she graduates high school. She's the lead singer, lead actress. She's fantastic. She's in college now and she's leading her university program as the lead actress in all their productions, the lead singer. And, she changed
that's
her life
amazing.
just by overcoming her own fears. And it was amazing because she had the opportunity to do so. So,
Well, and you're so personable. I'm sure that helps a lot when you go into a class. I gather, do you work with the kids over a period of a few days on the
Yeah, it's just a couple of days. So
yeah.
generally, like we do teach-ins, and I recommend everybody do it, no matter what your profession, whether you have kids in school or not. Like in Orange County, I think they call it additions volunteers. You just sign up, and when they have opportunities available, you come in. And I come in, I teach them public speaking, I teach them how to write, I teach them whatever the teacher, needs me to teach them. Acting, directing, producing. We actually filmed a movie in one of the classes, and we had some kids were afraid to go in front of the camera, so we put them behind the camera and they loved it. We taught some filming and editing and so forth. I'll send you a clip, but we did a little 5-minute short film. I think it was 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll send it to you. But it was pretty funny and the kids loved it. And then a lot of them decided they were going to go on. And now I think some of those kids are at Full Sail and some other, I think Valencia or some other film program. So it's kind of nice that you can inspire kids to do things they never thought possible before. So, I recommend anybody volunteer if you can. Take the time.
Great. That is. And I forgot to ask you, what is the main takeaway you want the listeners to have here?
Yeah, I want everybody to be the best they can be, whether it's in sports, win it all. And if it's in business, if you're working for another company, be the number one producer for that company. If I can do it, I think anybody can do it with the right coaching and the right mindset. And if you own your own business, dominate your market, dominate your industry, just take over and be number one everywhere you go. One of the ways we do it is through best-selling books. You own a business, you write a best-selling book, we put you on TV and you're the local celebrity and everybody goes to you. And it's just like here in Orlando with the law. You can't go anywhere without seeing John Morgan's face on a billboard or without turning on a TV seeing John Morgan. He gets a ton of business just because everyone knows who he is. And there's no reason every one of your listeners can't be that person.
All right. So that ties into where you're helping people to build authority and to
Mhm.
build credibility. You've got access to all the different types of platforms, it would seem, right?
We do.
It's like,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we do. In fact, it's funny. We did a simple press release for our financial advisory clients a few years ago, and we started doing this. Um, I asked the owners of large life insurance agencies, stock brokerage firms, asset under management firms, investment advisors. You've got 15 or 20 sales reps. They're all knocking down about 150 a year. What's stopping them from producing more for you? And they said they just can't close their sales. They're all closing like 50% sales. So instead of every two people they see they're closing one of them. It's just not enough. What can we do to raise that? So I did a simple press release that covered all the people in their firm and got them coverage on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, CW Network, WGN nationwide, all of those. And we use those authority logos and put them on their website. So you see when you're on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, some sites have them, some advertisements don't. And it's just credibility. People see that and they say, oh, well, these people are on TV. We know we can trust them. And within 3 months, all of those agencies had an aggregate increase of 51%. So they went from maybe doing 50% closing ratio. Now they were in the low 70s. And the difference for them was a 50% increase in sales. You've got every rep going from earning 150, now they're earning closer to 250. And if you've got 20 reps in your agency that have increased their income $100,000 a year, you've just increased your income $2 million a year to your agency. So it's things like that. And we're not like a PR firm that says, send us 100 grand, give us 6 months, we'll see what we can do, or put us on a $20,000 a month retainer and we'll see what we can do on a best efforts basis. We guarantee coverage. We say start small, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, whatever your budget is, it doesn't matter. We'll get you some positive coverage, help you increase your sales, increase your revenues, increase your profits. And then if you want to take some of that and reinvest, we'll go bigger. We'll go from your local TV station to maybe nationwide TV. We'll go from your local penny saver to Forbes or Entrepreneur Inc., Fast Company, something like that. We'll get you covered there. So there's a lot, it doesn't matter what the budget is. We can help anybody. And I want to see everybody we work with hit number one. Even our kids, they're number one, they're champions. And if kids can do it, your audience can do it. If I can do it, your audience can do it.
Well, and you do that under which company name? Because you have several companies.
We do. It's smithprofits.com for our consulting. And our charity, by the way, is Junior Patriot. So if anyone's,
Right.
working with schools or Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, we can come into any church or any group and help the kids become number one bestsellers with our series, What I Love About America, which coincides with our 250th birthday. So happy birthday, USA.
Well, and I hesitated to bring it up while we're recording, but I mentor over at Great Oaks Village. Do you know what that is?
I do not.
Orange County owns, they don't call them orphanages anymore. It's a foster group home foster care, and they've got 40 some kids over there. And they let them stay till as long as they're still in school till they're like 26, I think it is.
Hmm.
So they have a lot of them that are older. Most of them are in their teens over there, but they just can always use more guidance.
Yeah, we'd love to help. And we really don't have any age limits. Typically, we start from, kindergarten's 5, 6 years old, but we've got graduate students 35 years old in this program. So, anyone wants in, and even like if for a family, if they say, hey, I've got 4 kids, they're not going to do it unless I get in and help them. Well, mom and dad are welcome to come in as well and do it as a family project. But we just want to encourage patriotism and with all that's going on in the country, I don't think it hurts. And I want to help everyone celebrate our 250th.
All right, so we'll talk about that later. But yeah, you have not only Junior Patriots, but you
Hmm.
have the Smith Profits, and
Hmm.
your business consultant and publicist business, I guess, is interwoven in there, is it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So what
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do is we've trademarked the one thing, and what we do with every client, we sit down and find out what is the one thing they need to improve their business. And it's different for everybody. So there's no one pill for every ill. There's no universal cure. It's I'm having a problem with this. Well, here's how we fix it. I'm having a problem with that. Here's how we fix it. So whether it's sales, whether it's marketing, employee retention, expenses, whatever the issues are the company's facing, we've got a solution for it. And if I don't have it firsthand, I've got a massive network of people who within days can find a solution for us.
That's very powerful. It really is. And so, as I ask everybody towards the end of our recording, is there a pivotal person or event that has helped you to where you are today or that's pushing you towards some goal right now?
Um, there is actually a couple of them. One is my girl Sharon Rosnowski, who's a public school teacher here in Orange County, and she brings me in to give me the privilege of working with these kids, and it's just absolutely wonderful. So I've got to thank her for that. And then another young lady here that I met about a year ago, Amber Carlson. Um, I can't remember the name of her company off the top of my head, but she does business training and so forth. She's great. She's introduced me to a lot of CEOs who I've been able to help. She's fantastic. I'll have to look up her company. I think it's Archway Leadership is what it's called. But she's right here in Orange County. She's fantastic. And that's about it locally. You and some of the great people we meet through the, dinner club, that's always good. But everybody should just get out, meet as many people as you can. Join your Rotary, join whatever, but just be involved in the community, help out and give back.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that for sure. Well, as you know, because we talked a bit about it, we had this local legends and pivotal person
Mhm.
series. So either you can contact them, we'll coordinate, or we will. But if they come on the show, then we promote them as that pivotal person, and then they get a lapel pin and whatnot. But we try to appreciate all those people that are pivotal in people's lives, and so that's what that's all about. Um,
Awesome.
and I want you to say your takeaway again, and then we're going to have to do the contact information. So go for it. Do that
Yeah.
takeaway
Yeah,
again.
the takeaway is just be the best you can be. I interviewed Eddie Money before he passed away, and he had a song. Talked about, if I worked in a hospital, I want to be the doctor. If I worked on a garbage truck, I want to be the driver. So whatever you do, it doesn't matter. Just be the best you can be at it. And one of the ways you can is by building credibility, building authority, getting a magazine article written about you, get a press release done, get on television, write a best-selling book. Whatever you need to do, we can help you do all that. And the easiest way to get a hold of me is smithprofits.com contact. And we do a free complimentary consultation, usually through Zoom, 20, 30 minutes. We find out if we can help you or not. If we can't help you, we'll direct you to somebody we know who can.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. And we'll put all that in the show notes. And I thank you so much for coming on. It's been great. And we're going to stay in touch here for sure.
Thank you very much, Danny. I appreciate it.
Take care.